Hello, and welcome to another monthly reading from Karen's Colours. I'm Dr. Karen, an Australian sociologist with a primary interest in the language of colour as it pertains to the way in which people view each other and also in the way in which we act in our everyday lives. This month, I've decided to choose a new oracle that I received just recently. It's by Sharina Starr, and it's called the Fortune Oracle. There aren't very many cards in this, but I have noticed that the cards that do exist here are really quite interesting. So hopefully they'll help us along our journey in May, because we've had a couple of really torrid months. Everyone in the world has been subjected to quite a high level of anxiety. And I hope that this month's readings for May 2026 will help to curb some of that anxiety and bring us all back down to earth and to a situation where we can actually be kind to one another. So let's get started, shall we? To begin with, let's select an oracle card to help us along and give us some extra definition to the colour reading. As you can see, my shuffling has not improved at all. Anyway. Okay, we'll pop the card over here. So now, the colour reading for people born in June. A combination for the strength that you bring in with you in June is white on white. The greatest obstacle that you need to overcome is orange on brown. And the particular issues that will assist you in overcoming any problems are purple on cyan. White on white is one of those combinations that is quite special. It's special because there is no difference in what is going on in the real world as to what is going on in the internal world. And altogether, this is all about enlightenment. It's about honesty. It's about truth. It's about integrity. It's about being strictly legal, strictly honest, strictly righteous in whatever it is that you do. So people born in the month of June throughout May 2025 will find themselves having to stand up for what is right, having to perhaps even face up to some things that they haven't faced in the past, because this is justice in some way. It's the ultimate justice. It's the way in which life brings you unexpectedness, because this combination offers you more than justice. It offers you both the ability to be honest, but also the ability to take the consequences of whatever it is that you've done in the past. So for people born in June, this is the ultimate in wake up. And that is your strength. The obstacle that you are having to deal with is orange on brown. Now, when we have brown as the driver, the internal goad, if you like, of your life, it means that there are things that you want to accomplish. There are goals that you need to specify. There are skills that need to be created. But in the real world, what is holding these up, what is preventing this from happening, is the fact that everything is a drama. Everything is a crisis. There are problems throughout the world that are affecting you, and those problems are things that require you to be able to present a confident and competent face in the real world. But remember, this is the obstacle. It is difficult to do that when you don't really know what it is that you want out of life. Not being able to set a goal means that you cannot indeed pretend that you are achieving that goal. Orange in the real world is an achievement. It's a survivability thing. It's being able to look at a challenge in the face and overcome it. But if you don't understand where you want to go with that overcoming of the challenge, then there is a real problem here that prevents you from getting ahead. The skills that come with you that are assisting in being able to face up to reality here, but also to be able to overcome whatever inadequacies you have in terms of not being able to create a challenge, not being able to overcome a challenge to the goals that you have not clearly defined. What helps here is purple on cyan. Cyan internally is a need for peace and stability and quiet. Are you able to achieve that? Well, in the real world, you're actually spending an awful lot of time pretending that everything is okay. Now, purple in the real world is all about imagination. It's about being able to heal things. It's being able to speak and to understand and to present an argument or a position, because that's what cyan is about. But in the real world, that need to be able to express yourself has to come through in a way that makes things better for everybody, that heals whatever the issue is that has caused this lack of ability to connect with others. Cyan is the color of connection with other people. It's associations, it's friendships, it's relationships. And the relationship here, your skills at being able to create relationships in the real world is being sorely tested by the fact that there is more of a nightmare situation happening rather than this sorts of healing, helpful and pleasant relationships that you would normally want to provide. So looking briefly at the colors that are missing, let's have a look. There's no black, but you do have white. There is no red or yellow or green or blue. You have brown, you have orange, there's no gray, you have purple, there is no pink, but you do have cyan. Now, these colors here are important insofar as with all missing colors, these are the ones that will guide you towards a better outcome, because they are the ones that will represent the skills that you can then add to this repertoire up here. Choose the one that is most appealing and then the one that is least appealing. And I want you to do this without necessarily looking up what that information is. If you want the information on those colors, I have a whole series on color personalities that go into each of them in great detail. But for now, just allow yourself to choose based on what appeals and what does not appeal, because there are some lessons to be learned from these three sets of colors. Here we have white on white. And white on white, as I said, is all about honesty, integrity, facing reality, being able to deal with the unknown, the uncertain, and doing so in a way that enables you to face up to whatever the consequences were of whatever you did previously. But we can also cross that white in the real world, that consequences, with brown in the internal world. So we're actually crossing these two over. White on brown is an urge towards creating goals and developing skills that will enable you to take off in any direction whatsoever. It enables you to move into a direction that is at present unknown, but at the same time giving you the tools that you need in order to make progress. On the other hand, we can also take the white from the internal world and add to it the orange from the external world here. And what we have here is high drama once again. When there is an emptiness feeling in the internal world, when there is a lack of ability to recognize, but at the same time still have very high ambitions and goals based on your previous understanding of what is right in your world, having the confidence and the courage to stand up and make declaratory statements and activities that will enable you to overcome the fact that you now are faced with some reality, some harsh truths, is an issue that can be quite helpful to you, but can also be quite unhelpful. Because orange in the real world is always associated with some form of catastrophic issue that you need to overcome. But we also have the purple and cyan here, which are important colours in their own right. If we add the purple from the real world here to the white from the internal world here, what we have is a needing to deal with, it's almost an addictive personality. Here we have a situation where you are having to overcome the fact that inside yourself, you have a certain degree of conviction about what you want out of life. And in the real world, you've always had the power to overcome whatever it is that has challenged that conviction. So there is a certain degree of calling from skills and lessons that you've learned in the past to move yourself forward. But that doesn't always work in your favor, because sometimes when we do it this way, when the white from the real world and the cyan from the internal world comes in, the peace and harmony and quiet that you want out of life can in fact be hassled or challenged by the fact that life isn't always fair. And while you may like to create that fairness by challenging it through doing what you've always done in the past, when you do so, sometimes it makes you feel uneasy. And that uneasiness internally comes to as feeling pretty isolated, pretty friendless. Because again, cyan has to do with relationships. In terms of the conflicts that you have here in this orange and brown, if we put orange over cyan, then the issue here becomes one of having to search for connections through bluster. Orange in the real world often comes across as fake courage as well, particularly when it's a problem, because you are pretending that you can overcome the issues without necessarily having the skills that are necessary. And here, this says that the skill that is necessary is being able to connect with other people. What is happening to those connections? This is a challenge that needs to be dealt with. But we also have, as a result of this combination here, we have brown in the internal world and purple in the real world. Those, just leave those there for a minute. Now here, there are goals and ambitions that have been set. They're your internal ones. Only you understand or know what they are. But in the real world, there is an awful lot of chaotic activity happening. Purple and orange, both of them are colors that are associated with change, with drama, with having to recreate your reality. It's not a comfortable position to be in when you have this particular combination, because there is a tendency to feel friendless and a tendency to not be 100% sure as to what exactly you're wanting to get out of a particular activity. And that, coupled with coming into the month with a sense of justice, what you want out of life, what you really want to achieve, and then being hit with the reality stick, can make for a great need here to rectify things, to make things better, as a result of the fact that you have found yourself in a situation where there is very little support from anyone else. You're having to rely entirely on yourself. So it's doubly important that you choose from among these missing colours on the basis of appeal. What appeals and what does not appeal. And add those to your repertoire, because that will enable you to overcome some of the difficulties here and help to clarify this strength of yours, this ability to face reality regardless of what reality brings you. Let's now have a look at what the Oracle has to say. It says, fire. Let go of emotional upheaval and embrace the reward of the present. Fire is something that is both catastrophic, but it cleanses. Once the fire has passed, there is the opportunity to start all over again. And that opportunity is embedded here in the light. Are you prepared to go ahead and take that challenge? Well, there's one thing for sure, and that is, even though we've had a rough number of months, February, March, and April, May doesn't really offer us all of the wonderful future that we might be hoping for. There's still going to be struggle. There's still going to be a need to reevaluate where we are going, what we are doing, what we want out of life. If your reading resonates with you, then certainly I urge you to make use of those missing colours, because they will make a difference to the way in which May 2026 works out for you. In the meantime, I wish you all the best for the month, and I'll see you again at the beginning of June. May the colours of your life bring you all the things that you need for your own happiness and higher good. Catch you next time. Bye.